Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Cinema podcast. This is
Hello.
Keshav, and of course, I'm joined by Ashmita from I Just React and Review, and from I Just Overreact to Music, and that's it, right? Two channels for
Yes,
now.
two channels for
Two
now.
channels for now. Same goes for me. I have another channel, as you might know. But this here is a much anticipated discussion about a film that's been in the news for the right reasons. Not for the
Absolutely.
wrong reasons, but for the right reasons. It's a film that makes us question, like I put here down below, which is 2018. Is it the Kerala as we know it? And that is because obviously there came a coincidence that two different films were released on the same day, which showed two different sides of Kerala, uh, and that's why I think this film for me needs a bit more traction, hopefully more spread, more good word of mouth, because
Yeah.
obviously if you have to choose between spreading positivity and negativity, of course you should choose the first one. So thank you for joining in this discussion, Ashmita, and I assume that even before you watched the film, you were pretty excited about it.
I
E-
was.
Even
Yes.
before we knew what kind of film it might turn out to be, which we'll come to. But even before that, when the film was announced, it's been in making for so many years, and the stellar star cast and such an able director. So what kind of an anticipation did you have before the film came out? Like just purely talking about 2018, no comparisons with
Yeah.
other stuff.
No, no. So I was sold after watching the teaser itself.
Okay.
So when I did the teaser reaction, I was already sold. Looking at the visuals and the star cast, I was
Hmm.
like, "This is like such a talented star cast. It's a multi-star cast film. Plus, this
Hmm.
is a real incident that happened, and I knew that this is going to be cinematic because how else would you show this film?
Yeah.
Uh, so I was sold after watching the teaser itself, and
Hmm.
when the trailer came out, I was blown away already. And I said that in my trailer reaction also that this is a film that needs to be watched in the theaters. I don't
Yeah.
think audience the movie will get justice if
Hmm.
we just wait for an OTT release.
True.
So I hope it gets more screens here, and thankfully after the release there's such great buzz about this movie.
Hmm.
I'm hoping moving forward it'll get more screens, so I'm very happy to see the positive response from the audience and the reception from across. It's not just in
Yeah.
Kerala, but across, like internationally also.
Hmm.
So I was very positive about this film before the release itself, because
Hmm.
after the trailer, I was sold after watching the teaser, but after the trailer, I was like, I need to watch this in the theater. And I was so disappointed because when it released without subtitles. So, and my friend, he lives in Dubai. So he messaged me, "Have you watched 2018? Like, I know you watch Malayalam movies. I know you love Malayalam movies. You better watch this in theater." I'm like, I'm waiting for the subtitles to, get updated. I don't know if they're going to do it or
Hmm.
not. Thankfully, they did. Because I kept asking them, okay, there's the movie there with subtitles. This is the movie there with subtitles.
Yeah.
So I think one fine day they said, no, it's playing with subtitles. And that's how I'm like, finally, I'm going to watch it. And I watched it in a packed theater. And it was everything that I was, expecting it to be, and even more. In fact, it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, and even before the teaser came, like how aware were you of the 2018 Kerala floods?
Oh, about the incident, I was aware. I
Hmm.
was aware because I was in. I mean, I knew what was happening.
Hmm.
I because it was national news. I mean,
Yeah.
unless and until you don't follow the news,
Hmm.
then only you will be not aware of this event.
Yeah.
Because if you're following the national news and at least the big stories that is happening in the country,
Hmm.
this would have, people would have a memory of this, that okay, this something like this definitely happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, just out of curiosity, have you ever been in a city where it was flooding at any
Yes,
point in your life? When?
yes, in Mumbai.
In
Mumbai floods.
oh, you were
So
here.
I was in Mumbai, and my house was in ground floor that time.
Okay,
So I had returned from school. I was in 11th standard that time. So
okay.
I had returned from school, and it started raining because it was
Hmm.
the monsoon season. It started raining, and we had a test the next day, the unit test. And I was discussing with my neighbor. She also went to the same school, and I was like, okay, we need to study for the test. And then it was starting raining. He's like, शाम को घर पे आ जाना,
Hmm.
but बहुत अच्छी बारिश हो रही है. We'll have pakoras. Like my mom is gonna make pakoras. Little did we know what that evening will turn into. So yeah, and unfortunately we both were in ground floor, and it just ruined everything. I could only save my books, and my dadi used to live with me at that point of time. Like me, dadi, mom and dad. Mom and dad, they were both in office.
Okay.
So, like, my mom literally took help from a stranger. Like, she
Hmm.
walked all the way to the colony from office. And she's like, I don't know who this person is, but like, I need his help because people were like, falling in the manhole and all, and
Hmm.
people were, living in strangers' places because they were just stuck. One of my friends, she went to meet her dad at the airport, and she was at the airport the whole night. So it was like that.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation. So I could only save my books, uh, my school books. I was like, this is the bare minimum I can save,
Hmm.
and rest of it all went away in the floods.
Even
So
I was.
I have
I
been in that situation.
same. I was in 2015. I was in Chennai when the Chennai floods happened, and I think around 300 people might have died back then as well. Although my area was not as affected, but you know, I wanted to ask because if you have, if we have been in that kind of situation, it then this film, experiencing this film becomes like even more relatable and personal
Yeah,
in
I
a way.
say that in my review also. Like, I mean, it was not as bad as what we see in the
Yeah.
2018 floods, but the fact that I have experienced this, and
Mm.
before the film started, it says that it's
Yeah.
always news until it happens with you,
Absolutely.
and that's why the empathy level was very different for me because I
Mm.
know how scary it is.
Mm.
You might think that, oh, it's just water, but oh my
Mm.
god, the water pressure, and especially in that ending scene where the family is stuck inside the
Oh
house.
yeah.
You can't open the door and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And because I when the floods happened, it's just not related to the film. So my dadi, of course, she was old, so
Mm.
I asked her, like, with the help of other people who were living in the upper floors. I was like, please go up. And then I went back inside, and then I was carrying my books, and for a moment I couldn't open the door because of the water pressure, the main door.
Okay.
So another person we were in the same colony, he said try to open the balcony door because we were in the ground floor, right? So somehow I could open that. Then he kind of caught the books, and it was like a very scary situation. So I know how scary it can be. So I cannot like even imagine what people went through, and everybody came together to help each other, and that's when you really see that no, people, we are conditioned to be like, our main wiring inside our brain is to be good and kind
Yeah.
and helpful.
That's what separates mankind or human beings from other species, that
Correct.
we God has given us that sort of an emotion inside. And as the film starts with the quote saying everybody is a hero.
Yeah.
So and in this film, that that being the theme, I first of all, I absolutely like if you begin with the opening credits with the that commentary
Yeah.
between a couple of people, and they are first giving us a backstory of that the century old floods that had happened
Yes.
back in the day.
Right.
And they are arguing that now the infrastructure is so good, nothing can happen again in Kerala and everything. And then boom, when the title comes up, so
Right.
from there on, like I was hooked. And
Correct.
as people on my channel know, that I had the privilege to watch this film at the film companion front row. uh,
Lucky you.
yeah, I met the star cast and also attended the Q&A. So it just made for an even better evening in terms of experiencing the film, knowing more insights about the film,
Right.
the making of the film and everything. So once it starts, you know for me, I've always found and noticed that in Malayalam films, world building is a huge thing. I
Yeah.
think the way they create and establish a world and put it out to the audience,
Right.
that makes a lot of difference.
True.
That is such a USP of this film as well. When we are being introduced to all the characters, and uh, the moment for me was when Tovino's character is explaining what's happening around him to the blind character of Indran's.
Hmm.
That for me took the cake in terms of establishing a world, and
Right.
so, like as I said, so that scene also is in the beginning of the film. So I was completely, they had me in the first few minutes, and it was completely edge of the seat experience from there on.
Right.
So going into the film now, uh, so as we knew the subject of the film or the topic of the film, and how amazingly Malayalam film industry handles the disaster genre of filmmaking. I mean,
Yeah.
what
Virus is a good example as
Virus and
well.
last year Malyan Kunya, my favorite film from last year. Like
Yeah.
this one also had shades of that. So how impressed were you with not just the world building but also, you know, absolutely killing it with this genre again and again in Malayalam theatre cinema.
I think it's, that something which Tovino said in the uh, front row interview, that we like, because they know they have this budget constraint, there's a
Hmm.
very different mindset when they are going to make a film,
Yeah.
right? So it's like they're working doubly hard. It's like, I'm not smoking, we are not smoking anything. It's just like sheer hard work.
Hmm.
And I feel that a huge credit to, not, we say that director is the ship captain
Yeah.
of the ship, but here specifically for this industry, that I have found very something very unique is that yes, the director is the captain of the ship, but
Hmm.
everybody else involved, it's
Hmm.
it's not like they are going there to do a job. That's what it just feels like. Okay, they are like this one big family.
Hmm.
Everybody knows everyone, and then they're
Yeah.
just they have this different level of conviction,
Hmm.
which with which they want to make a film. They are like, okay, they don't know if they're gonna kill it at the box office or not. That's a very big risk that producers also take. But something that Asif Ali also says in
Hmm.
the interview, that we are very focused on the content, like, that we need to ensure that we give good content to the audience. So not I'm not just saying particularly for this particular genre that they're killing it in the survival, okay, disaster genre or the survival genre, but I feel that if the director and the filmmakers in the scripting stage, when they are writing the script and then they are doing the storyboarding and everything, I feel that there's if they do it with conviction, the output that they give us, one,
Hmm.
because they do their homework, that is very detailed oriented, and once they, because of that, the output is so good. So
Hmm.
it's not specific to this genre as per me. I feel that they bring
No, of
this out in
course.
different genres
Yeah,
also.
across genres, of course, especially in the last couple of years since we have been reviewing it on our channels as well. It's across genres, but since this film is in the spotlight right now, and
Yeah.
uh, also why I said it is because in other industries you don't see a lot of survival dramas, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so when these guys make it, they make it like no other. That was the point, like
True, I
how they are
agree.
excelling in it. uh, Now coming into the movie, since it's a deep dive into the pun intended, like it's a deep dive
No
uh,
pun intended.
so so in the beginning, so one thing that kind of had me in two minds is when they're introducing all these characters. So
Hmm.
at any point did it feel to you that too many characters at the same time, it's little difficult to keep a track of everybody, like who's who matlab, who's the husband wife here, and like
Hmm.
because so many couples. So
Right. No, for me, I don't think personally, for me, it did not feel really confusing, because I mean, I went in with this assumption only that okay, it's a multi-star cast. It's, of course, the director is going to focus on a couple of actors more,
yeah,
but we're going to see a lot of people, like a lot of known faces
yeah.
with where, and yeah, it's a huge film where, because it's like everybody is a hero. So in the trailer also it was pretty much suggested okay, one is working here, one is working in this, one is a
Yeah.
journalist, one is a government officer. So I think my mind was pretty conditioned that way, that okay, there are a lot of characters, so
Hmm.
I did not feel as confused. What my skepticism was that okay, there are so many characters, you are establishing them well, how are you
Hmm.
going to like seamlessly bring everything together, because
Yeah.
you need to give justice to every story.
Hmm.
There I feel that in couple of characters they kind of they close the arc, but it was not satisfactory for me.
Hmm.
Specifically for three actors: one is Aparna Balamurli, who is the journalist,
Yeah.
second is Kunchako Bopan, and third is Vinny Srinivasan. They have closed everybody's arc in the film. That is a very big thing in itself. But you know, the satisfaction you get once you see the entire journey of the character, I feel that somewhere I did not feel as satisfied as
Yeah.
watching, say, Lal's character or Asif Ali's character or Tovino for that matter. You know, so that is the only skepticism I had when the movie started and the first half everything was getting established. There was a lot of context setting. I was like, okay, you are setting up everything so well.
Hmm.
I hope the payoffs are also worth it in the second half, which they were. Is just like it's a very small nitpick, because the fact that they've closed each and every arc of every actor is itself is a big editing task. So
Yeah.
that way they have done that very seamlessly. So I did not feel confused at any point, to be very honest. I don't know about you. Did you?
In the beginning, I was just a bit because, as I said, there were there were one too many couples for me. Like, there is
Okay.
Vinny Srinivasan and his wife,
Hmm.
who are not on good talking terms, and then there is Kunchako Boban and his wife and their daughter,
Yeah.
who's gonna have a birthday and he is supposed to buy presents. Then there's so the thing is, like, once I got hold of it, of course, then I was okay. But in the
Hmm.
beginning, I felt a little skeptical. And as you said, like, the finishing of the arc. So yeah, even I felt that in some way. But maybe, uh, who knows that it might have ended up becoming a lot longer version of film. Had
Yeah.
maybe in the deleted scenes, or they edited out a few things to
I'm sure. Yeah, maybe.
keep the length like that, because. Uh, if they've written an arc like that for these characters, I'm sure there is a resolution as well for
Right.
everything. Like, at least with Konchako, I still felt okay. There is a sad ending, but especially with Vinny Srinivasan, like, once the truck driver drops him at that place, and the
Right.
truck driver has a change of heart. After that, there's this no revisiting of that storyline, right?
That
So
storyline, exactly. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm sure in the
yeah.
scripting it is there, but
Yeah,
maybe in the final edit it's not there.
yeah, because when the film, in the second half, especially when the film was coming to full circle, I was literally like, I kind of, I had a checklist in my mind that, okay,
Hmm.
now this character is still stuck there, they have to be taken out,
Right.
or now this needs to be resolved, or that needs to be done. So,
Right.
like at the end, like, I was like, okay, now the blind guy is still there, so he has to be rescued.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
same way, I was kind of still anticipating something from the Vinith Srinivasan arc, that, okay, he'll go up there and meet his family.
Hmm.
And same way, so for example, so this arc was left a little incomplete. Same way, what I felt, again, like, it's another thing which I felt, I don't know about you. So, Asif Ali's character. So, did you feel that there again, the arc, like, completely took a 360-degree turn very quickly? Like, it could have been a little more detailed, that change in his
Got it.
character.
A change in heart. Like
Yeah,
you feel that okay, suddenly comes into help when the
yeah,
boat they're trying to push the boat.
yeah,
I mean, it is sudden, but I did not mind it, to be very honest. I was like, this is too sudden, because I feel that his character got such a good closure that, and he becomes like the model also, but he's helping with the family. Like, the whole thing was so wholesome for me.
hmm.
So that one thing did not really bother me.
No, but it's
Uh,
the irony, right? It's the irony is that, one arc they left incomplete with Vinith
hmm.
Srinivasan's story, and the other which they completed, it felt like they rushed through it. So again, it could be an editing call, that
It
the
it is,
screenplay call
I'm
or
sure.
something like that.
No, I'm sure it's an edit call. I'm sure the screenplay is much more detailed
Yeah.
because there are so many characters. So it's very, I think it's a monumental task to even
Hmm.
with a multi-star cast film. It's very monumental task to just decide. Okay, we're going to keep this. We're going to remove that. Is it going to affect? I think that they were thinking the larger picture. Okay, is
Hmm.
it affecting the entire storyline?
Yeah.
Is it adding to it or not, or we're just putting it because we want to? I think these are very tough decisions
Hmm.
when you're sitting at the editing table. So because it's like the editor plus the writers plus the directors, because it has
Hmm.
to, you have to give proper screen time to everybody so that it feels that okay, justice has been done to each and every character, because we have spent so much time setting them up.
Hmm.
So I think for just these three characters, I was a little bit disappointed, because with Kunchako's character as well, because he's a government official,
Yeah.
right? And he is like suggesting things and all of this, and the boss is not having any empathy because he's suggesting good ideas which are getting
It's not
implemented.
the empathy. I thought it was the ego. Like he didn't
Ego.
want the junior guy to take all the credit.
Correct. But once they show in the news that his house
Yeah.
like got
Yeah.
destroyed, suddenly the boss is like, okay, I I shouldn't have done
No,
that, because
that's
now,
understandable. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I would have loved that if the boss's change of heart had happened before. That okay, Kunchako has suggested something and it gets implemented, and the boss is like, fine,
Hmm.
my I'm going to keep my ego aside because this is a more important thing. We need to save people's lives.
Yeah.
So I feel if they had reached that point before the before his house got destroyed, I would have loved that even more, because he never gets his shine. I feel bad for Kunchako in the film, because
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, he's suggesting so many great ideas, give the man the spotlight, which he
Hmm.
doesn't get. So that's what I felt bad for that. That's the only thing.
We need to take a look at the comments
Yeah,
because
yeah, of course.
give respect to people. Of course, we always take the comments at some point in the chat because we were involved in this discussion. I thought let's get this topic over with and we'll take the comments. But so the first comment which really has caught my attention is Aditya Babu says they were really foreigners uh, who were swimming on the floods there. I think that's why Jude portrayed like even when the floods are there, they need fun only. So speaking about
Uh,
foreigner, how absolutely fake that Polish accent was. I mean, I later on I realized that the director was there. I should have asked him this question: was it a dubbed thing that some other actor did it, or was it that guy himself? Because it didn't connect with me at all.
yeah, even like that was it. It looked very weird.
Yeah,
I don't know what is the correct Polish accent. I don't know how people
whatever
from
it is,
Poland
like
talk.
the
But the acting, I'm just
yeah,
saying, just from acting standpoint.
acting plus that kind of a tonality. Like he's always excited. He doesn't really care about the catastrophe that's happening around him. He's always like,
Because
and
honestly, if it was raining that much and I was a tourist, I would be
yeah,
damn scared. I would be like, please take me back to
yeah.
hotel.
So
I don't want
that
to be stuck.
yes, that's why it looked little fake. And at least the woman playing his wife still was okay, but this guy, like he really
The
over
dude.
exaggerated a few things. Come Alive says just came here after watching Ashmita's reaction on Keshav. Yes, I was also there. I was there in the video. For those who don't know, let's take other comments as well. Otherwise, people will
No, no, we should,
mind
of
that.
course.
Okay, so here we go. Eswin Paul says the movie will enter 100 crore worldwide collection by the end of today. That too fastest 100 crore movie in Malayalam.
Oh, oh, faster. That's amazing. Congrats to the team. They deserve it. They absolutely
Yeah,
deserve it.
which was
I thought it was Lucifer, but okay.
okay. What about this one? Romancham, has it also entered the club? Might have.
I I don't know. I think probably 70, 80 crores is what they made. I think so. I could be wrong. I need to
Yeah,
check this.
yeah. Akhil says they added the foreigners just to create a funny mood to ask what is a father name. That was actually hilarious when he asked that girl. And I'm telling you, like in the whole theater where I was sitting when this dialogue came up. Everybody cracked up, and just imagine Tovino was sitting there, say how he would have felt the reaction on that
Yeah, you would have
dialogue.
felt very satisfied because that's what you want. That's the validation,
Yeah,
the best validation that you can get from
yeah.
from the audience.
Vivek says GST should be less. Film producers can't take all the movies to distribute through India. We are
Yeah.
expecting good Hindi dubbed movies to release in South too. Yeah, so it has been released now in Hindi and other languages as well, if I'm not wrong.
Will you be
And
watching the Hindi dub?
no,
No.
I mean, I'm already sulking the foreigners dub. So just imagine if the Hindi dub is also that bad, or even if it's half bad,
No. I'll
it'll
take my
just
family, so I'll anyways end up watching
yeah.
it.
So let me know how they
Sure.
have ruined it. Uh,
What an assumption.
okay. Let's go to another comment, guys. Mollywood is making a debut into OTT with its first web series in a genre, the ace crime thriller, Kerala Crime Files, starring Aju Varghese and Lal Sir.
Yes,
Wow,
in
I didn't know that.
Hotstar. That'll be aired in Hotstar.
Okay. Uh, Alan says Tovino, real hero of Kerala flood. So did you know that he was actually a volunteer in the floods?
I have been told, I read the comments, that's how I found out. And people told
Yeah.
me that he was kind of trolled because people, a section
Hmm.
of people thought that he's doing this for PR.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm glad to see that he's now not getting butchered after
Hmm.
starting into this film. Because, I mean, imagine, you doing something out of the goodness of your heart and people saying that, oh, this is like a PR tool. How
Hmm.
heartbreaking is that? Like, he's going there and genuinely helping people.
Hmm.
How can you even make that assumption at the time of a disaster?
And later on, when the film came to him, he actually said that initially I was not as excited about the project. Like in the interview, you must have heard. Like he
Hmm.
told that it took me some time to get convinced about this. So it's not like he had this in mind to do a movie about it.
Correct.
Uh, Akhil says the snake scene. Okay, the snake
I
scene. We have to talk
love.
about it.
I
I mean,
love. Me, and two other ladies were sitting like mother daughter duo, and collectively we shouted in that scene. I don't know. I could hear people from across the theater, like in different places who gasped. But us three, I think we were like, ah!
so did you at all anticipate the worst possible scenario in that scene? Like,
I did.
so you thought that this is the end of Asif Ali's character?
I thought he's gone. I honestly thought he was like, okay, totally gone. But I was very happy once he came with the mark sheets. People and so many clap-worthy moments in the film. We were
Yeah.
like
Oh,
constantly clapping.
absolutely. And for me, the scene that takes the cake, where the most amount of shouting, hooting, and clapping happened, was when the army guy gives him salute.
Oh yes,
and
loudest
and
claps.
yeah, and it also justified why there was this whole army background. Like in the beginning, when they're telling us about why he left the army, and I was like, w- like
Why? Why
I
would you put that scene? You would
I
have
know
thought.
there are character traits, and these guys like to be innovative with it. But I like, why would? But I was also sure that at some point they will justify it, and it did at the end.
So it was
Snake
hilarious.
scene is CGI, is what Laiju is saying. Of course, it must be CGI. Uh, Now
Nobody
let's
would risk putting a real snake. I mean,
yeah.
that's like taking it too far.
Abhijit says, what's your people's thought on Hindi audience's reception for this movie? Will they be accepting this movie? I mean, an average movie enthusiast, non-Malayali.
At least I'll find out what the kind of reception is once I go and watch it with
Hmm.
my family. So because I'm going to do it this week in only, most probably Thursday or Friday I will go and watch.
But
Not Friday, Thursday.
in general, what do you think? Like a non-Malayali Hindi audience would be receptive of this kind of a film?
Yes, I think so. This is a very human,
Human
raw
story.
human emotion
Yeah.
involved here. It's a very human story. Like it's yes, it happened in a particular place. It's a true story. It's
Hmm.
inspired from true events. But I think the emotions is something that people can resonate, and that's why I feel everybody should give this film a chance, a very fair
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah. I mean, look, if people across the nation were, accepting films like KGF or RRR or Bahubali,
Kantara.
Kantara. So, I mean, if those films can work, then this is like an even more relatable story, because those films are still, fantasy land. All those films, like larger than life films. But I think this in true sense should be a pan India film, because
Absolutely.
this is not just reduced to people in Kerala or floods in Kerala, but the overall emotion, as you said, it's a human story at the end of the day.
Right.
And anything, so, like, how people connected a lot with the whale. So again, another story about kindness and compassion and
Right.
empathy. So same way, I think this one also teaches you that lesson beyond the floods.
Correct.
um, Siddhant also says that I don't think that the Hindi dub will be that good, and I
Yeah,
am on the same
actually, it
page.
depends. It depends on really depends on the dub. And actually see. I want to take my family because I want them to watch the film.
Hmm.
But when I will be going, because I know the story, so I am going to be judging the dub left, right, and center,
Yeah.
that what they're going to do, because I don't think, like, I don't want to like make assumptions that okay it's
Hmm.
going to be bad. It can, at this point it's like 50-50. Because when I watched the Kantara Hindi dub, they did a pretty decent job of dubbing that
Even
film.
PS1 and PS2 I saw in Hindi, they were also good.
Okay, I've seen PS1 in Hindi.
But
I've
it's
watched it.
always wise to keep your expectations down, so that even if it's good, you are surprised. But if it's bad, you are not really disappointed because you
Yeah,
never
yeah,
expected.
yeah. That's
Uh,
true.
Now coming to the technical aspects of the film, like you also mentioned it in your review very extensively. So
Standing
how?
ovation to them.
Yeah. So big. Starting from the, of course, we have talked about the snake scene, which is pretty good. But even before that, when those fishermen are stuck in that tornado or whatever that
Yes, in
was,
the
sorry,
sea. Yeah, in the
not the
sea.
tornado. Yeah,
The storm, the sea storm.
the storm,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So, so I mean, I'll tell you something. So you must have heard it in that interview. They told that we are still working on the special effects, because when it comes to OTT, we want to be even better.
Correct. So that people don't screenshot
Yeah,
and say that okay,
yeah,
this was a bad CGI. I
yeah.
know.
So I mean, that tells you so much about their dedication and commitment.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
mean, that's, and this is comparison of the highest level, like PS1. We if you remember that storm in the sea
Yeah,
again, when Ponniyin Selvan is fighting, and their ship goes down.
correct.
Compare it with that, when these fishermen are fighting around. I think this one had, technically, like, it was tighter in terms of the colors, in terms of how the CGI
Yeah.
was used. It just looked a little more convincing to me. What do you think?
I too forgot also this. In fact, after the film, I realized, oh my god, that storm scene is CGI, because I was so engrossed throughout the film that what was CGI and what was real, because I assumed that the even the flooding that they're shown, that the people corrected me in the comments that
Hmm.
no, they actually built like a set and they flooded that area and that's how they shot it. So I was like astounded because how good within that budget constraint. Like imagine
Yeah.
making such a good CGI scene where you don't even you forget that okay this is CGI.
Hmm.
You feel that okay this is a storm, and what a great payoff that had in the end. Like I
Absolutely.
feel that the fishermen folk got like the best payoff. We were clapping and people
and
were
and
whistling.
and then Kunchako says the real heroes as well. So
Yes,
that was like, and I'm sure it happened in real as well. Like, it's not
I'm sure.
fictionalized. It's
Correct.
a fisherman, the way they. That's why I have written it in the in the title. Is 2018, like, what makes this Kerala story so special? Like, this
Right.
is the Kerala story people should be
Right.
talking about and celebrating, instead of the other one. And Gauri says, for me, the autistic kid scene was also good. Like, the
Yeah.
anxiety for me was so. You also mentioned it in your
Yeah.
review, like when
That's my
AB gets
favorite.
stuck. I mean, we have to give the credit to the lizard. I mean, if it was not for the lizard, he would.
The lizard was also CGI, right?
Yeah,
Guys,
Anoop would have
guys,
returned. Anoop would have returned if he hadn't.
yeah, yeah, of course. Of
so,
course.
so Lizard kind of saved the kid's life.
I don't know how many people were involved in the art direction, like in the team,
Yeah,
but building that set in the land and flooding it, and then
yeah,
just just making it so authentic and real. Because my anxiety, second half, my anxiety was at its
Hmm.
peak. I'm
Hmm.
like, just save everybody, save everybody, save everybody. So I feel that the art direct, like the art department,
Hmm.
they better win the national award for this. They better win the national award for this.
I mean, they created a set and flooded it off with the water. So I mean that is like the commitment level is
Insane, man,
and
seriously.
yeah, like they said in the interview that the cameraman was drenched 24/7 whenever they were shooting. And then when he would say that I can't do this, then the director would step himself and he would
Yeah.
do the job. So
Yeah, DOP also. Really,
yeah,
well, technical team, just hats off to them. Hats off to them.
look at this.
Seriously.
Sidhu says I was surprised to know the budget of the movie is 15 crore.
Even I
I
was
didn't know that.
surprised.
Like, app, it's so surprising. Like, this in this when Tovino says that our salaries, like he's probably
Just a
the
part of it.
yeah, he's the topmost mainstream actor right now, and even
Yeah.
if he's saying that our salary is one part of the whole budget, so if
Right.
15 crore is the budget, even if even if he takes 10% of that, that's just 1.5 crore. Like, you know, uh, you that might be not even that. I'm actually thinking like he said in Bollywood films, like the promotional budget is more than that. Promotional budget is more than the whole budget of a
Or
Malayalam film.
correct. 15 crores, like I when I found out first time, because like what is the budget? Because I asked in my review, I don't know what the budget of the film is. So people commented there that it's just like 15 crores. And when I read the comment, I'm like, yeah, this is like, I am shocked, but I'm not surprised at this point, because only this industry can pull it off. Because they have, it's not just once that they have done it, like pull off really good, visually stunning films in limited budget. They have done it multiple times, so
Yeah.
it's really not surprising.
So Dark North Emperor, I think we both agree with it.
Absolutely,
Must
please
is
do
in
not touch,
capitals.
do
And
not
there's
touch
no,
this film.
first of all, there's no need to be remade, right? Because it has been released in other languages in dubbed versions. So, uh, I sometimes don't get this. Whenever there is a film from any region, if it's being dubbed in other languages as well, there's no not like I absolutely was disgusted at Selfie when it came out. I mean,
I've still not watched it.
please don't, because anyway, Driving License was not that great a film in
Yeah,
Malayalam as well.
it's an okay
It's
film.
an okay film, and
I watched Driving License.
maybe for that time,
Uh,
a few years ago, it might have worked. The jokes might have worked, but now, like like already just an okay film to remake it to be a worse version of that doesn't make any sense. Uh, okay, what's I am so glad they are going to have OTT series debut, but they should rename it Title Card with Story. Okay, we'll that's a different topic. Sangeet says 20 to 30 is the budget, 15 was okay, but still, I
uh,
mean, even if it's 20 to 30, that's still much less.
Much
Like,
less.
if you remember, even Minnal Murli was made at such a 25 or something like that kind of a
Yeah.
budget, and that film required even more based on the special effects it required. Akhil says Tovino does 3-4 films in a year. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, the volume doesn't matter here. If you compare his salary with other mainstream A-listers from other industries,
Yeah.
that speaks volume. Aparna says the fisherman scene really happened. They were the real saviors of our land.
Mm.
That's why that's why that scene was like the most amount of goosebumps kind of
I
like
love that. That's one of the best payoffs that I saw in the
your
film. Like
review thumbnail itself said goosebumps, so I'm sure you know that.
goosebumps. Multiple times. There are multiple sequences where I
Yeah,
got goosebumps and the chills. And I'm saying like it was just such an automatic response of all of us which were sitting in the theater. Like we couldn't help but clap. Like because the emotions in the theater itself, like we were feeling everything what was happening on the screen. And the response is that because we were overwhelmed by so much of emotion, that
yeah,
what will you do? You will either hoot or whistle or clap. So that was what was happening in the theater.
yeah. And it was also genuine. Like, at least when I was watching it with the whole team and in this sort of arrangement, one could say that, it could be in their respect that people were kind of reacting like that, but it was all genuine. Like, literally every moment had its merit, and
Yeah.
that's why people appreciated it so much. Like, after the film there was a literal standing ovation. There was a
My theater, same. Same.
No, standing ovation as in, like, when the lights came out and these people were like
Ah,
there. So for
okay.
them, like, literally we turned around to them and we clapped to them for a minute.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
yeah, so that was all genuine. And so, okay, this is the comment that I was waiting for. Somebody would two sensational movie release at the same time. The Okay, so this requires a completely different
Separate discussion.
podcast, but I did touch this a little bit in the beginning. That, I mean, just imagine how universe has conspired everything. That same day, same day, these two films come out
Unbelievable, na?
about Kerala, two absolutely opposite sides of coin,
Yeah.
and one is absolutely, like, like, one is all love, this one,
Another is all hate.
other is all hate.
That's what I feel, and that's what I say in my Kerala, because I reviewed this film, the Kerala story. And I said the one thing which I said, that when you're dealing with a sensitive topic, because every state, every country, we all have our pros and cons. We have a good side, we have a bad side, and I said that when you're dealing with a sensitive topic, you have to deal it with sensitivity, because there are people who have gone through this. There are people who have been brainwashed, whose lives, their families lives have been ruined. So you have to deal it with a lot of sensitivity to
Yeah,
actually make people aware that yes, this has been an issue, and this is how people dealt with it, or the government dealt with it.
yeah.
And they didn't show how the government curbed it, because the government also did its job, right? So I feel that it's a missed opportunity. They could have done so much
So
to
much,
stop it.
because see, it's not a fictional story, it's a real incident. Okay,
Correct.
it did happen in Kerala, so these
Correct.
facts exist, right? So as a filmmaker, or as the team which was at the helm, they could have done so much. They
So
could have
much.
handled it in a much better manner. And just imagine, like, it forget about the facts and, the propaganda or whatever. Forget about that for a minute. Even filmmaking wise,
Hmm.
it just didn't look like a good film. Like, the execution of so many flaws. I went with a friend, and there was a scene where, if you remember, there are these terrorists who are recording a video message for the world, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in one sentence he says bhasa and bhasha. So, I mean, I was like, if I could catch it in a blink of an eye, how did they leave this scene in this? Like, that's a basic.
Yeah.
And then the worst part was the accent. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like,
I mentioned this in the review
in
also,
your
that
review, yeah,
they
just
could have.
45 people are watching right now. I'm sure most of them are Malayali. Even if they speak Hindi, even if they speak English, anything, even in Malayalam, like, how on earth can somebody pronounce makeup for makeup? It's
I
an
get.
English word. Makeup,
I get.
makeup is an English word. Why will they say makeup
Yeah.
even if there is an accent?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they could have done so much. That's the
they could,
literal. I keep
they,
mentioning this in my review, that
yeah,
it's such a missed opportunity that you could have
they
dealt
could
with
have,
the stock.
they could have, they could have cast people from Kerala who speak Hindi, but then at least the accent would have landed genuinely, right? The casting could have been so much better. The whole production, like, it felt like a
I think
low budget production.
I feel that a lot of people would not want to be a part of a movie like this. That's what I genuinely feel.
Even if
That
that's the case, there are
yeah,
so many Malayali actors in Mumbai also, like, who would know Hindi and Malayalam both.
yeah.
So at least if that would have been done, like, the homework seems to be not done enough. The only focus seems to be on the hate factor,
Yeah.
the versus factor.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's just Hindu versus Muslim or anything like that. It's just you and us and them.
Correct.
So that when that angle takes the precedence, when that is your priority, of course then you don't care about how the film looks on screen, how the technical
Exactly.
aspects. Yeah.
Because you like technically also, and I mentioned this, I was like, okay, by cinematography, I'm like, okay, fine, it's fine, I'll let it go.
Hmm.
But the BGM, it was just so caricaturish and stereotypical. I'm like, dude, really, we are not in early 2000s anymore.
Yeah.
You could have done away with such a BGM. But anyway, that's that. We'll come back to this movie that we
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah, yeah,
discussing.
absolutely. Because as I don't know if you have seen This Is Us. There is a dialogue in that if life gives you lemon, even if you cannot make lemonade, make something resembling to lemonade. So when life gives you a Kerala story, make it 2018 and not the Kerala story, which is about hate and it divides you. Uh, and there is a reason also why people in Kerala won't accept it as their own, right? Because
Hmm.
uh, it the title says the Kerala story, so that that's kind of
Yeah.
categorizing everybody under
The
one.
everybody, exactly. I
Yeah,
think that
so
was that and the number 32,000 was like the main
32,000,
topic
of course.
topic of debate in the
And
news.
how stupid that was to
Yeah,
just put an average, like, multiplied by 10.
that
Why
shows the
can't
lack
you?
of research.
Yeah, why can't you assume, if like how you're assuming that let's multiply it by 10, why can't you also assume that what if the authorities and the government worked to crack it down, so the numbers might have also come down, fluctuated, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
those kind of things, like, really, they made a fool out of themselves.
Yeah.
And
But
nobody from Kerala, no Malayali around the world would want to be a part of this sort of an identity.
of course,
That's why.
and I'm very happy to see that the movie did not get banned in Kerala, though it got banned in West
Yeah,
Bengal and
again,
Tamil Nadu.
that shows how welcoming or how tolerable they are.
So, because I don't support ban of any kind, especially in a democracy, it's like let people accept or reject it. So I'm that way. Also, I'm very happy that in the state of Kerala they did not actually ban the film.
This is such a good comment. It says Malayalam films are raising the bar, so I Kerala Story was crushed by 2018 by default. That's the power of storytelling. That's the
Storytelling. That's the most
Yeah,
important thing.
that's the power of good cinema. Like,
Correct.
once Anurag Kashyap had said that there should be films of every kind. Like, even if a director wants to say the story, the Kerala story in his way, let him do that. No film
Hmm.
is flawless. Like, every film will have the flaw. But you know storytelling is one thing, but to maintain that sort of a benchmark which Malayalam films have been maintaining for the last few years,
Right.
I'm telling you, like, this just struck me right now. If Kerala Story would have been made by a Malayali director with a team from there,
Right.
I'm sure they would still have done justice to the story, the real story, and they would have handled it with so much more sensitivity, and it would have been a neutral take basically.
I said the same thing in my review. Like I would want the Malayalam industry to actually make the story
Yeah,
and show the story of these victims.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I
because
mentioned the exact same thing.
because it happened with one of their own. So
True.
even Shalini Unnikrishnan also deserves uh, her story to be told in a
Of course.
manner it deserves to be. So
Correct.
so that's the point. But anyway, coming back to 2018, so, like, how you said that you kind of anticipated when Asif Ali's character goes to the snake. Same way, at any point, did you anticipate that Anoop will die at the end? That was a heartbreak.
No, I did not. And you know what? But when he did not come out of the water now, I swear to you that I was like, his leg got stuck in a rock. I thought of this. I was like, he's not coming out, he's stuck. His leg probably is stuck in a rock or some rubble and he's not able to swim up. I literally thought that, and then they show the exact thing, and my heart broke. But I did. did not expect him to die. I was like, okay, fine. I was expecting that he'd probably reapply in the military or something like that, and he'll have this whole enlightenment that okay, I should go and serve my country, and that is the arc that I was thinking that okay, this is
Yeah.
how it will be closed.
No, I actually happened to talk to the director after their film companion discussion was over.
Okay.
So I asked him, sir, were there any alternative endings in your mind? Because I had to know, right? Everybody was thinking about that. Even Anupama Chopra, before they started shooting it, I think she did ask them, why did Anup have to die?
Right.
So, also 50 people are watching right now. Thank you for tuning in, and press the like and the subscribe, and you know the drill. But anyway,
Nice call to action integration, huh, Keshav? Nice.
I'm learning from the pros like you.
I don't
So,
do that at all, but I should.
so you should learn from a pro like me now.
Yes, I
Uh,
should.
so I asked him, what about the ending, and he said there was never any alternative ending because then I wouldn't
Oh.
have a cinematic end. I wouldn't have an
Uh,
end. It would have all been, just like a happy-go-lucky, like a good normal.
hmm.
And you know how Malayalam filmmakers are never a fan of happy endings or something like that. You
They
know,
love bittersweet endings.
yeah. And it, and then when he said there wouldn't be a cinematic end to the film, I kind of agreed with him. Then I thought, yeah, because if he would have been left alive, like it's like there's no one last twist.
But I would have been still happy, like satisfied.
We would have been happy, but maybe uh, the filmmaker in Jude wouldn't have been happy.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. There is two movie released in the same time period. One that tried to
Yeah.
split. Yeah, we did talk about that just.
Poles apart. The messaging is poles apart in the film.
So my family watches my videos, and so they also asked me for my recommendation whether they should watch Kerala Story or this one, and I was like, you can watch both, but I think the word of mouth should be about 2018, because
Correct.
the more this film spreads out, the better side of Kerala would be heard even more.
Correct.
Uh, and 2018 is a real Kerala story. So when they were doing the Q&A session in the film companion thing, I had raised my hand, but my turn didn't come,
Acha.
and I was like, I was thinking, if the mic comes to me, my first comment will be 2018 is the real Kerala story. And I was actually expecting somebody to say that. So once the Q&A got over, somebody did shout that.
Ah, that's nice. In fact, when I was reacting to it and I was recording my reaction, I was waiting that okay, maybe you will have a question there,
I,
but you
I
did
I
not.
had my hand raised, and I
Okay.
was so I would have asked the same question which I asked the director later on. So I
Okay.
that was my question, and my opening line would have been 2018 is
Ah,
the real story. So when somebody shouted that, there was kind of an awkward smile on the cast and crew's face, because they didn't want to, like. In fact, one of the questions, the first question which somebody else asked, when he says that this film deserves more recognition, some other films are getting. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Tovino's expressions is like,
yeah.
okay.
And the whole theater was shouting
See,
at that
they
point.
they they have to be very diplomatic. They cannot
Yeah.
like they have
No,
to
no.
talk about their own film. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they know what to comment on and when to keep their mouth shut. I am excited about ARM, Jitin's film with Tobino. I'm waiting for the teaser.
I was very excited for the recent Fahad film that came, but it didn't release with subtitles around me, so I kind of missed it.
Same. It didn't release with
I am
subtitles
waiting
here
for it to
also.
come to OTT, because uh, it felt like Fahad is in that very Maheshante Pratikaram kind of a zone. So I like the Nyan Prakashan zone. So I like that Fahad a lot. Uh, there is another comment which says, I don't think Keralites would do something like this. But as we talked, like we would love a rendition of Kerala Story coming from Kerala. Like,
I
people.
would I feel that Malayalam industry is pretty bold when it comes to like choosing offbeat topics
Yeah.
and sensitive topics. I mean, if they can make a film like Biryani, I
Hmm.
feel that there are makers out there who can do this. I'm not saying they should, but there are makers who I feel that they can do it.
And Hrinson kind of sums it up in a sentence. It's just a BJ film. Look, they kind of paid the dividends in the Karnataka
Yeah.
elections. So
I feel that everything, like movies like this, will be politicized. Like it will be involved with politics all the time. Like this is like a tool that politicians would use, and I feel that I mean we do get. There's was one comment which I missed.
yeah,
That brainwashing comment that people like half the Indians
yeah,
actually
yeah,
get brainwashed.
yeah,
I feel that's too no. Correct. It's like a brainwashing comment. I think there was one more comment by him only
yeah.
in the
Just
similar line. So I feel that we also really need to start. We don't have the habit of fact checking. That's the
hmm,
problem. So when we look at a film which always says that based on true story or inspired from true story, I think audience collectively need to understand that there are creative liberties that
hmm,
filmmaker will take to make it more cinematic, as even Jude said with Torino's character, like I
yeah,
needed to give it a
yeah,
cinematic end,
yeah.
right? So even with such sensitive topics where they pick out such issues, they will fictionalize the story to some extent. And I think as audience it's our responsibility to understand that okay, we have to separate the fact with fiction and just come out of the theater and just move on.
But
But
nobody, no,
problem is the politicians don't let us do that.
politicians won't let us do that. Plus, also, if you're already brainwashed, or if you are already in that vulnerable state, then your first thought will not be of fact checking. So
Hmm.
I was reading this review on Instagram of Kerala Story. So the reviewer had written a very interesting insight in that when he came out of the movie, he overheard a couple of young guys, and their quote unquote they said, इन लोग को काट डालने का. So
Sad.
for those who don't understand Hindi, they literally like said that these people should be killed. That's a rough translation. So
Correct.
now think that they are two young guys, right? Could be teenagers or could be early 20s. Now if they just coming out of theater, I'm sure they uh, even before watching the film, they would have had consumed such kind of a one-sided negative content so much. That's why those seeds are already planted. it
Yeah,
it
it's
cannot
sad.
happen. It can't happen overnight, or it can't happen within 3 hours of watching a film, right?
Correct.
So the whole WhatsApp university and everything, it's doing its job,
It
and
is.
it's planting its seeds. That's why that comment would have come out of their mouth immediately after they are out of the theater.
It's sad. It's
So
scary, right?
it is
So even,
scary. And so I was discussing this with somebody, and I told them, look, if they would have meant this for ISIS or all these terrorist organization, that still makes sense. But when they says card dalne ka in logon ko, they
you
are
mean that people within the
the,
country,
no, the whole
basically?
community. They are targeting
Yeah,
they have started to look another community as them, like
correct.
it's us versus them. And that's why I was saying that that film has focused on versus,
Yeah,
so that's why it sort of needs to be this sorry,
remade.
it I don't think, see, first of all, I don't think, if even if it's remade, again, people are going to give it that much attention, because
Yeah, but it's done. It's
what's done
done.
is done, right?
Yeah,
So Kerala Story was rejected in Kerala without getting banned. Released only in 11 screens out of 650, and then almost vanishing within a week. That's the way
yeah.
to deal with. Yeah, I mean, that shows the tolerance level of people in Kerala, and that also tells you a thing or two about the literacy rate.
Hmm.
If there is literacy, of course there will be more tolerance, and that's why
Yeah,
they didn't go berserk like any other state. and
Hmm.
they didn't ban it as well. And then Princess, I don't think they are victims. They're happy and satisfied about what happened, so don't call them victims.
Yeah, I've heard this narrative also a lot of time, though I don't have a concrete opinion on this. That they went with their own free will and stuff like that, and they deserve, they
Hmm.
got, they deserve this and all of that. So that's another narrative. But my research is not that strong for me to really make a concrete opinion that okay, because for me they are victims of brainwashing by a terrorist organization. That's
Yeah.
where I stand.
And my opinion says incidents like pandemic, Nipah, flood, flight crash in Calicut airport, people who step forward for help even before police and the officers are great examples that there is no religion. So this is an interesting one. So like even in 2018, I don't think there was any religion angle. They could have easily, like even for a positive outcome,
Hmm.
they could have shown like, of course majority of them are Christians in it, but
Right.
if this would have been made by some other film industry, I'm sure they would have been like how this has that fisherman versus non-fisherman dispute when
Yeah.
they go for the Asif Ali's love interest,
Yeah.
they go to their place. So that dispute, they could have easily turned it into a religion dispute as well,
Yeah.
but they didn't. They
They didn't. It's all the whole story is like a human story.
Yeah,
It's like people are in distress and they need help. Oh,
yeah,
that was also such a great payoff when they go out and the man is just like, putting on his hands to
yeah,
Lal and he's like,
and
thank you for saving me. I
yeah,
belittled your job when you came to meet me, but now I understand that every job is so well. Such a
and
great payoffs in the movie, man.
and rarely I heard any character's second name throughout the film. Like, it was always Anoop, or it
Hmm.
was always their name would be followed by Etta or Chetta. So
Yeah.
you would hardly hear the surnames. That also takes away the religion or the caste or the community angle throughout the film.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, and even if they had to put the dispute, the fisherman versus non-fisherman dispute made sense because their houses are situated at the shore. So
Right.
of course, that father would worry about his daughter, and then the karma would have it like he's himself stuck like that. So again, that paid off so well,
Hmm.
and
Which is your favorite rescue sequence in the film?
it has to be the pregnant woman because
Helicopter one.
yeah, because the, the whole scene where uh, Anoop's army background comes onto the fore. So
Right.
if it were not for his army background and knowledge, he wouldn't have signaled in a way they could only understand, and they were
Right.
actually going away because the landing was not possible.
Right.
And when he successfully transports the mother and the daughter, and then that salute, I mean
Right.
that was really, and he becomes immediate hero. Instantly, he becomes a hero of the town.
Yeah.
So for
That's
me, it was.
that was a
What
film.
about you?
Mine is the when Anup saves the family from the house, the boy and
AB?
AB basically.
Okay.
So that is for me. I was like, I don't know. I was so nervous while watching that sequence. I was like, no, they cannot die. They cannot like something's gonna happen. And when Anup was like, rowing away because he can't see, he can't hear them, and he's not able to make out like somebody's inside or not, and he was just leaving. I kid you not. Everybody in the theater was like, "No, don't go away!" And like that's the emotion. This is like I just loved the theater experience, and I was also one of them. I'm like, "No, don't go away! Please save the kid." And then thankfully the lizard appears.
Mhm.
The lizard is the savior, and yeah, I have a newfound respect for all the lizards who who I keep seeing at my home.
But okay, what about the other scene where this family is stuck, like their place is buried inside the.
Oh, I love that.
But so I had a problem with that scene. So they were ringing the phone and they were following
Phone.
the ringtone. How
Yeah.
does that make sense? Because first of all, they are underground, and like it's a small old phone out of which the ringtone is coming. So wouldn't it be better to shout or scream, which would catch the attention even better than a little ringtone? I mean,
I
how
think they
did that
put
make
the. I
sense?
think they have put that scene to just build the tension up. Screaming would make more sense,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
But I think they have put that scene because just to build the tension because Once the battery is dead, you don't know. Like,
Hmm.
okay, now we have a problem now.
Yeah.
That, now how are they
Yeah,
gonna
no, I
find
get
them?
the conflict. Like they
Ah,
wanted to put a conflict and then resolve it, but
correct.
that was a stupid conflict because because and it's an old phone, like the old phones which
Very old
doesn't
phone.
even have a
But you know what? I'll tell you, the older phones, because we have been through that evolution. The older phones, Keshav, do you remember how loud the sound was?
I remember,
Then
but the poor people were underground. Okay,
I
doesn't
know.
matter how loud those phones were. Says Kurudi depicted the struggle to survive hatred and prejudice.
Yes.
That's why that
That's
film.
how you handle that topic.
That's how you handle that topic. Plus, even Janaganamana, you know, and
I
Kurudi and
think.
Janaganamana are their reviews are two of the highest watched on my channel. So, sir, please go check it out if you have come from Ashmita's channel. uh, Even the lizard is a hero in
Yes.
the film. Yeah, everyone is a hero, so that includes lizard. I think that's the point.
That is the point. And I'm telling you that the newfound respect I have for the lizards at my home. That
Yeah, yeah.
the movie made me, the movie shifted my perspective.
Theater experience was epic. Felt like storm inside theater with Dolby at.
Yeah,
Yes,
sound design.
yeah. That's why I would recommend everybody to watch it in a theater.
Yeah,
It won't give you half the experience at home in on OTT.
true.
So I have told
Completely
my
agree.
parents also to go and watch it in a theater itself. Aftab says music elevated that. Yes, absolutely. Me being a musician, like I could literally. I was in the awe of the people who did the sound and music. In fact, one
Yeah,
of
I want to know your thoughts on that, like from a musician's
yeah,
perspective.
no, so one of my friends, I've known him for a long time. He did the additional background score
Okay.
with the main guy, and yes, the helicopter scene, like it tells you how well they have mixed it because the helicopter sound is so much in that scene, and yet to have the music there without disturbing anything, with the dialogues as well. So I think
There are a lot of sounds: the helicopter sound, the sound of the rain, the
wind,
dialogues,
the
and
wind,
the wind. I
yeah,
mean, just imagine
and
the
the
amount of
score,
sound
yeah,
engineering done, and the score. How amazing!
yeah, kind of. It was in that. If I don't know if you saw Tenet in theaters, so
I have,
Tenet
I did.
also had this kind, like if you remember that whole plane crashing into the
Now I
airport
don't.
scene.
Now I don't recall the sound mixing of
Not the
that, but
sound, but if you remember when they crashed the plane inside there, so that also had very very loud background score, but
hmm,
with the sound design of plane
sound
and
design.
everything. So yeah, so music wise, and like usually you don't expect songs in these kind of films, but even when they came, songs were not a hindrance at all. Like I'm not just speaking as an audience or a YouTuber, but also as a musician, I felt the songs were well placed.
Hmm.
They had a meaning, they were taking the narrative forward.
Hmm.
Like, what about you? Like, did you feel one song too many, or were you okay with it?
Nothing, nothing, nothing. I felt
Yeah.
I was like totally fine with the narrative because I was really applauding the editing by the end of the film. I was obviously in awe of the technical aspect, but in my mind, and I also complimented the editor, Chaman Chako.
Hmm.
I told him, like, you did such a fabulous job, because editing a multi-star cast film is so difficult, and I
Hmm.
really really congratulated him. I said, the way the narrative goes, everybody's story, everything merging together, placement of the songs to move the narrative forward, amazing. I
Yeah.
no complaints whatsoever.
Because in past I have had couple of times I had this complaint in Malayalam films that sometimes they do one song too many when it's not required.
Acha.
But in this film, like it was they didn't. So how much do you rate movie out of 10?
A 9.
9.
Yeah, because
That is
I feel
quite high.
I'm just taking 1 point marks out because I because of the arcs that I did not feel very satisfied with the closure of the
Okay.
arcs for Vineet, Kunchako, and Aparna. So that's the only thing. But for me, it's a 9 for sure. This movie will be there in my top 10 list for sure. I know it for a fact. I know this. So definitely, and I think it also has to do with how I experienced the movie, because your perception of a movie also depends a lot on what kind of audience you are watching it with.
Hmm.
So my experience of watching the film was very beautiful because the audience, we were engaged with the film. It's not like we were watching the film, it felt like an interactive thing
Yeah.
because something was happening in the film and there was a reaction out of all of us. So I that's why I rated this high, because of the storytelling for the movie itself, but also for the experience I had while watching the film.
I would, so I am very hard to please in general. So I I would go 7 out of 10,
Okay.
which is 3.5 stars out of 5, which a lot of great
Yeah.
movies get anyway. And I can give you the reasons, like the arc thing we talked about, like couple of arcs were not completely resolved. Then I was not at all impressed with the foreigner, and that storyline. Like storyline is fine, but they could have uh, put a better actor or a better dub artist. So there were a couple of problems like that. Okay, this is an important one regarding the phone. I experienced Gujarat earthquake of 2001, when you are in a rubble inside, and everyone outside is trying to find you. The outside sound of people talking gets mixed up in shout.
Oh.
Okay.
Hmm.
I've seen the phone ring saving a life from earthquake rubble because it has high pitch than human voice. It bounces the. Okay, then
Amazing.
we
That's
accept we are
that's
wrong in that sense. Then
yes.
uh, acting by all three actors in the family of autistic kid was just too good. Yes, it
Too
leaves
good.
it leaves us begging to somehow save them. That's how good. Yes, absolutely. And did you feel that this actor, uh, he had very small role, but he's a huge actor in Malayalam cinema. I'm forgetting his name. He's father of one of the characters, and when they are enjoying the rain, and he's a somebody can give me the name. It's like it's here. The name is about to come out, but I'm forgetting it. Uh, I was
Hmm.
expecting a bigger role for him because he's such an experienced actor, and in a lot of films. Wait,
You
I'll
can
just,
check in IMDb.
I'll just Google it once. Uh, Jafar Idiki.
Oh, Jafar Idduki. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so he had just one or two
Yeah,
scenes at
he didn't
most.
have
So
many.
I expected more out of him. He's such a great actor. He should have given a little bit more
No, no,
footage.
Lal has a lot of scenes,
Not
man.
Lal, not Lal.
Lal's arc is great.
Yeah, 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 yeah. One scene which I really loved was the contrast they showed between Kerala and Tamil Nadu, when Kerala is, like the rain is,
The
of
weather.
weather is affecting, and then in Madurai, the truck driver's daughter is like enjoying the rain.
Yeah,
That is, I think, director's brilliance.
amazing. Yeah, just the
That
contrast.
Yeah, that contrast, and just like within a few kilometers, like it was Madurai highway.
Yeah.
So within that, like such contrast, it's cinematic brilliance like that. No, not Siddiqui. I'm talking about Jafar. He's he was also Fahad's father, no, in Malayan Kunyu, when he gets
Yeah,
stuck
yeah,
down
yeah.
there. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those that. Um, okay, we'll take last couple of comments, and then it's been more than an hour already.
Yeah.
Uh, Kerala Story is not a film, came out of cinematic liberty, but with the absurdity of some mental minds to create false perceptions about a place where people live disregarding their politics. I think we have talked enough about Kerala
Yeah.
Story. Uh,
Now we focus on the positives.
Majority of fishermen in Kerala are Christian. I think that's why it's shown like that. That's true, but and maybe that whole area had majority of Christians. That's why if I am not wrong, the detailing in the salute scene, how a navy salute and the territorial army salute with open hand, it was wow for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh, that's a good detail to add. I have not noticed that, but yeah, probably.
yeah, and that's why, like, as I said, that's where his army background, which they talked about in the beginning of the film, came full circle.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's been 1 hour 15 minutes since we have been
Yeah.
talking about this film. We can go another hour, but it's 11.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful to 72 people who are still tuned in. Uh,
Yay.
if you have any last parting thoughts about the film, Shmita.
I'm so happy to witness this film with such a great audience, and I feel that, I mean, I'm not
By
even
the way,
surprised at this point.
you
Yeah.
saw it in Noida, so was it houseful?
Full house, house full, packed theater on a weekday.
On a
So,
weekday, and that too Malayalam dub with subtitles. Wow. I didn't
so
expect that in Noida.
no, no, Noida has a lot of Malayalis. Don't
Okay.
worry. Now that I know this now.
Okay, so majority of the people were Malayalis.
Yes,
Okay, I
yes.
thought like you Hindi speaking audience who
There
wanted to watch it.
might be, there would be, but majority of them were Malayalis
Hmm.
only. So
Hmm.
very happy to witness this movie. And at this point, I don't feel shocked of the content coming out of this industry,
Hmm.
but it just sets my own benchmark for this industry very very
Yeah.
high, and they keep breaking that benchmark and set even higher standards. So very happy that this movie released, and should be watched by literally everyone, because it's not a regional film at
Hmm.
this point for me. It's a very
It's a pan
human
India film.
it's a pan India film, pan world also, I would
Pan, yeah.
say, because it's a very human level
Hmm.
story, so it'll resonate with literally everybody. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my final thought.
I wish this movie was close to Virus. I have not seen Virus, so if you have seen, if you
I
can
have
comment
seen.
on that.
I have seen. So viruses, this is more, 2018 is more cinematic, I
Hmm.
would say. Virus, when you watch it now, it's much more rooted and grounded when we see like how it's very detailed oriented, like
Yeah.
how they actually go about solving the case.
Hmm.
Again, with so many multiple actors, and how they have shown that how they crack and how they curb basically the spread of this virus.
Hmm.
So it's very thrilling, but it's more rooted. It feels
Yeah.
more real, for the lack of better word. This is much more of a cinematic experience, and I think both hold very high in my list of movie watching experience when it comes to Malayalam cinema. So both are good in their own aspect.
Have you seen Om Shanti Oshana?
No, Jude's the other only film of Jude's that I've watched is Sarah's, which had released
Taras.
in OTT, that I've reviewed.
Yeah. Okay, Virus or 2018, which one you prefer more? I think 2018.
2018. I think because of the emotion. I think because Virus, though I watched in like on a laptop screen.
Yeah.
So I think impact wise also definitely 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is that kind of a film which like a Janagana Mana or a Kurudi had left that sort of an impact on us.
Right.
Being non-Malayali who don't understand that culture as they would do, but still,
Yeah.
it had that connect with us. It had that impact on us.
Right.
So in that sense, uh, earlier before this film, my favorite Malayalam film of the year was Nanpakal Niruthumayakam, but I think it's a little tricky to choose one of
Yeah.
them. Would out of these two, if I had to ask you to choose one,
Oh, very difficult. I can't. I can't. No, I'm skipping this question.
this is an interesting one. Then let's ask the audience because I'm sure they have seen both of these. So for us, like those two are the cream of Malayalam cinema this year.
Yeah.
Even like Romancham comes close, and if you count Mukundan Unni Associates, which came on OTT this year, they also come close. But I think Nanpakal and 2018 are like head to head.
I like Irata also a lot.
Hirata, okay.
Mm.
So put down in the comments later on which was so far. We are almost halfway there in 2023. Which is your most favorite film, Malayalam film of 2023? For us, it's 2018. Both of us. And Ashmita, for her, it would remain in her top 10 even until.
This will make it to the top 10 list for sure. I'm telling you confidently. Roshak, yeah, again. So
Rosh-
many good movies have.
didn't it come last year? Rorschach, I think
When
came.
did I review it?
I
I think I
think
reviewed it this year only.
maybe on OTT it came this year.
Yeah.
AXS says characters were written much better in Wires compared to 2018. And then Basil says Ajayante Randam Moshanam
Yeah.
ARR will be next to Vino's pan
ARM.
movie.
ARM. This is the film I'm waiting for.
He will be next Kerala's pan India star after DQ. Can't wait. I think Minnal Murli 2, if it's being made, that's also something that can be a pan India film, because people now, after it came on Netflix, later
People
on,
recognize Tovino now. I think a lot of people
yeah,
know Tovino because of Mennal Murli
yeah, 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 yeah.
across our
For
country.
example, how Bhavesh Joshi later on, got this cult following on
Yeah,
online. So
yeah,
same way, I think Murli would do it for him.
sure.
Uh, just last comment. Can we see you guys interviewing leading Malayalam actors anytime
See,
soon?
you can expect that from Keshav and Nona. I'm a huge
Not
introvert. I'm
not
a
me.
I'm a huge introvert. I feel scared to talk to people and approach people. You know, me interacting with Keshav and Nona and we us doing all, they both approached me.
Yeah.
They both actually contacted me that okay, let's collaborate and stuff like that. I never did because I am a big introvert. I cannot approach people.
And
So
you can't expect that from me, because this is not something I do full time. It's only for the love of cinema
mhm.
that I do this. I am actually a musician, Aftab. You should check my other channel, which is on my by my name. You can find it in the channels tab. I'm a full time musician. This only I do like part time. So I can interview leading Malayalam critics on YouTube, which is Nona Prince and Ashmita, but nothing more than that. In fact, there is an interview you can find on my channel. I interviewed Siddharth Menon, who did Janeman film, who was a part of Thaikudum Bridge. He is a friend of mine who lives nearby. So anyway, thank you so much, Ashmita. It's been a pleasure. It's eleven
Yes.
eleven. I just saw the time. It's 11:11.
Wow.
That's good
Yes.
timing. That's
Divine timing. That's
that's good
divine
timing. Yes.
timing.
So 65 people are watching. 6 plus 5 is also 11. So guys, please, please press the like button and subscribe button if you have.
There's no connection of what you just said and your call to action.
It's just good timing, right? So thank you for watching, and we'll see you very soon with another film that's worthy of such a discussion. We just trust me,
Absolutely.
we always have a gut feeling about which movie deserves this kind of a discussion, and we always make sure that either on her channel or on our channel, we do this time to
Yeah.
time. So thank you again, Ashmita, and thank you to all
Yo.
the 65 people who have watched this or more, who would be watching later on replay. Good night, and have a good rest of the week.
Good night. Bye.
Also, spread good word of mouth about 2018,
Yeah.
not the Kerala story, because this is the Kerala story we deserve. This is the Kerala the world should know about.
People should watch this.
Yep.
It's doing really well, but it should do even better.
Should do even better once it comes out on OTT across the world. I think that's when the real image of Kerala would be exposed to the world, contrary to the other one.
Yeah.
People know us. People know better than us. I think
Yeah.
they would.
People are intelligent.
Yeah,
Yeah.